Whether it's your first time here or you're a regular here at Mr. Super Oz, I just want to thank you for tuning in to the channel. It exists because I, Oz, from the channel Mr. Super Oz, I wrote a 68-page graphic novel called Everlasting Survivors. Volume 1 is called All Day Long. If you follow the link in the description of this video, you can get yourself hats, shirts, posters, all kinds of fun things. But most importantly, you can get the story itself. And the more people that pick up the story, the greater the chances are that there can be continued adventures with these heroes. If you could, give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave a comment, enjoy. What a long, strange trip it's been, but here we are in 2022, or watching a 2022 movie, Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind. It ran 1 hour, 22 minutes. Dang. They quit doing the WB production house cool bonus character fight scene. Does that mean that this is unaffiliated with the prior Mortal Kombat Legends, or am I just reading too much into it? Because I really enjoyed that fun Easter egg. Regardless, I do miss, Daffy Duck and Shaggy and Scooby and, just that fun, quick spot that they did. It was good stuff. The movie begins in a nondescript time and an unknown location, but things, they just don't feel like they were when we were in the world last. We have a bunch of bad people, and I'm struggling to recognize them. They declare they are the Black Dragon, which is, something I am familiar with, so thanks for that. And we're taking over, which I find that amusing due to the New World Order. And then also later to be NXT TakeOver, so that's funny stuff. While I recognize the idea of the Black Dragon, most of the things within this feel foreign, such as Shang Tsung being subservient to King Kano. That in and of itself feels very off. Typically, those roles are basically the opposite. Shang Tsung is a top guy who is generally in control, and Kano is a lesser, a hitman for hire, a gunman, a comedy act. It's just, I'm very confused in the beginning of this to try and understand how the world became so upside down. When Kano attempts to explain this Mad Max wasteland world, I'm still pretty lost, and maybe that's how it's supposed to be. Me having little knowledge and them planning to drip out the information as the story goes, or so I hope. Because I'm still struggling to figure out if this is in the same timeline as the prior two films, and that is really making it hard for me to get, I guess, my lack of understanding of what's going on with the world makes it hard for me to get on board with this version of everything because of the confusion. While things are confusing, I will give them credit. They are letting the viewers know the pecking order of this Black Dragon, who's top dog, who's subservient, who's kind of like middle management, if you will. And so that is beneficial. Cut to the snow portion of the title, Snowblind. Sub-Zero is running from, I think, his brother, who's also Sub-Zero. Then the current Sub-Zero, not the former Sub-Zero brother, wakes up and we find out this was all a nightmare. And we see he is way older than last we saw him. And Sub-Zero is he the actual same guy from the prior movies? I'm not sure, because the prior film, the Sub-Zero that was at odds with Scorpion, was he was not this old, beat down, broke down old man. This can't be the same guy, right? Just too much would have had to have happened for that same Shang Tsung and this same Sub-Zero to be the same character from Battle of the Realms and Scorpion's Revenge. Or am I missing something? Could they have found a way to mess with the timeline like they did in the Mortal Kombat 1 video game, potentially? Maybe that's what happened. This also could very well just be a what-if story, right? I wish I knew for sure the main reason I assume this is connected is because the title, which is Mortal Kombat Legends, which is the same as the prior two films. And if it's unconnected, I would have much rather for the film to have been called just Mortal Kombat Snowblind and not Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind. But anyway, that's just me getting off topic about my confusion. Back to the movie and not complaining about my misunderstanding. Cobra, Cabal, and this bad chick stop the old man Sub-Zero while he is hauling his food to market from his farm. And I am not a fan of Cabal being evil. I much prefer his Defenders of the Realm story, where he is very much like the Sixth Ranger type, the character that can come in and get things to the right, or balance the odds, if you will, get things back on the winning ways for the good guy side. One more small tangent. I like the name Mortal Kombat Fallen World, since this is a very post-civilization in nature story. Into the reason for the blind in the title, Kenshi. Hopefully, he can get me into this more than I am, because I'm very pro this hero. And yeah, Kenshi Takahashi, he's very good, and he gets a very heroic introduction, pushing back the bad guys, those Black Dragons. Back at Black Dragon headquarters, Kano, who is a mad/bad king, he kills 2 fighters just because he can. After that, he sends Tremor to see if he can do a better job scaring these villagers than his 3 elite guards did against that cocky kid, Kenshi. Kano also sends Shang Tsung along as a kind of a lookout, or like a guide, if you will. More nightmare stuff. I mean, the same nightmare stuff, but more nightmares are being had by old man Sub-Zero, who seems to be living this same day over and over again, and then the same nightmare every night. Speaking of old man, this Sub-Zero gives me big time Logan vibes with his just beat down nature. When Sub-Zero gets to the village, Kenshi sees he has a Lin Kuei tattoo and wants to talk, but the grumpy old Sub-Zero is not in the mood. Subs even pretends to not know what Kenshi is talking about, but Kenshi is fully aware Sub-Zero is among the elite when it comes to fighters, and is willing to pay to be trained by this farmer. And so Farmer Sub-Zero doesn't care for worldly riches. Tremor offers Kenshi a spot in the Black Dragon, but like a true hero, Kenshi doesn't want anything to do with the bad guys. Tremor says someone must kneel to him to prevent chaos, so Sub-Zero does what must be done in this case, and he kneels to Kano's crew to prevent them from killing or injuring or hurting the villagers. Kenshi takes a stand as Tremor warns that King Kano is coming. While I still don't quite understand how we got here, I do appreciate that the heroes, 2 very different heroes in Kenshi and Sub-Zero, have made the movie much more enjoyable, because they're very good in this. As far as the bad guys go, though, Shang Tsung does show signs of his former glory or prestige, when he lies to Kenshi and says that his name is Song instead of Sung, and insists that he tell Kenshi about this fabled sword that will help. Clearly, Shang Tsung is manipulating Kenshi, but that's very him, so I'm not really all that surprised. While Kenshi does fall for this ruse, he kind of had to, because Shang Tsung needed Kenshi's blood to open a tomb because of blood magic that had this sword locked away that Shang Tsung wants to use to take what he believes is his rightful place as the top guy over King Kano. After Shang Tsung uses Kenshi's blood to open this tomb, to get the tool, to get power, he feasts on souls or something inside the tomb. I don't know. It's very magical based. But Shang Tsung gets younger, and this is when Kenshi gets blinded and gets left behind in the tomb. So it turns out that in the tomb, he wasn't actually going for the sword, he was going for the souls. It's just a good coincidence, I guess, or, a MacGuffin, if you will, that Kenshi gets left behind, blinded by Shang Tsung, who, with these souls, has become young and strong. And the ancient sword in the tomb is calling out to Kenshi because it holds the Takahashi clan within it, I think. I think they're like housed in the sword, and so his family helps guide him out of this tomb with, I don't know, some new sight sort of thing. It's not precise, but it's well executed. Sub-Zero finds the no longer cocky Kenshi in distress in the desert, struggling to make it. Go to Shang Tsung returning to Black Dragon headquarters, and Shang thinks that he is going to put Kano back in his proper place as a lesser. This Shang Tsung versus King Kano fight is so very surprising because Kano breaks Shang's arm. That was unexpected. Kano is more machine than man at this point, and Kano uses Shang Tsung's head like a sledgehammer and tries to take down a wall with it. It's so super nuts. Kano eventually rips Shang's head clean off his body, and yeah, Shang Tsung does not take over the Black Dragon, and Kano is still big man in power. Sub-Zero has taken Kenshi into his farmhouse. Kenshi is so very injured and too weak to walk. It's sad stuff, but well done. It hit me. I know Kenshi from somewhere, and so I looked it up, and the actor voicing Kenshi, Takahashi, is from The Good Place. Such a unexpected comedy when it was on, so much so that I couldn't get into it the first time I tried. I just found it very confusing, and then I gave it another chance, and I was like, okay, this thing is well written and quite witty. It just put a smile on my face to think about that show, and especially the actor from it, because his character was so absent-minded. I like how Sub-Zero calls out Kenshi, so without sight, you are useless. It's good to have the mentor character be stern, I guess, is the possibly the best word for it, because Kenshi is so down on himself. Sub-Zero even tells Kenshi that if he's going to kill himself, do it quick so he can get him buried before the sun rises, because of him being this farmer type character. He's like, oh, I got a lot of work to do when the sun comes up, so make my life easier by making it quick and easy. When Kenshi doesn't kill himself, Sub-Zero says, rest, tomorrow we train, and Kenshi asks if they're training for revenge, and Sub-Zero says, no, only to live. not to die, which I was like, wow, this is very, it's very well written when it comes to the mentor character. The training is so good. Sub-Zero wants the blind man to catch a chicken. Anytime Kenshi gets cocky, Sub-Zero brings him back to reality. When Sub-Zero realizes Kenshi's sword gives him a new kind of sight, he has him train without it because Sub-Zero understands that you have to be without your crutch, if you will. These two are very good at working together. At night, Sub-Zero has his reoccurring nightmare, and within it, this time it is revealed it isn't his brother, the original Sub-Zero, that he's running from, but rather himself. It isn't the original Sub-Zero that this old man Sub-Zero thinks is the real problem, but yet it is his own inability to control his powers, which is the reason that he originally didn't want to train Kenshi and hasn't used his powers in this entire film as of so far. When training resumes, Kenshi isn't doing well and tells Sub-Zero to just finish him off. This isn't working, so Sub-Zero says Kenshi needs to believe in himself. Only children blame their circumstances. Men change their circumstances, which I thought, that is some well done stuff. After the great pep talk, Sub-Zero helps Kenshi use sounds and smells and all kinds of, how the wind hits his face, all these things to be able to fight without sight. This Sub-Zero reminds me of Diamond Dallas Page. Great teacher, great motivator, literally a lifesaver. Multiple examples of Diamond Dallas Page just keeping people from the brink of destruction. Once Kenshi believes in himself, he can call his family sword to him, much like Thor and his hammer Mjolnir. Sub-Zero has a very revealing flashback, and I finally think that I'm realizing what caused this wasteland, this future that seems unrelated to Battle of the Realms. It is definitely a follow-up to Battle of the Realms and Scorpion's Revenge. It's just not anything that I thought would have had happened, because we learn these revenants, these like zombie creatures, were taking over the civilized world. Sub-Zero, the old man Sub-Zero before he was old, loses control of his self, accidentally kills his clan along with the bad guy things, and helps destroy the known world, the civilized world, in this mass killing event, which is why that he refuses to use his powers. So again, all of it's all coming together, which is a great, or very good thing to be happening, since we're getting close to the finish line. Robo Kano, or King Cyborg, or whatever you want to call him, he is still weird to me. Kano, who is generally just a henchman, he's in the village, just like was foretold by the Black Dragon, and when an old man refuses to kneel, he gets taken out, because that's very Kano. When Kenshi wants to help the villagers, he quotes Sub-Zero back to himself, and Sub-Zero is not a fan of his logic being used against himself, and so Sub-Zero tries to stop Kenshi from going to fight the Black Dragons, but with no luck, because Kenshi truly is the hero that he always believed he would be. And the fact is that this whole kneeling repetitive use of the concept of kneeling, it brought to mind a New Japan Pro Wrestling faction, because they are called the Mighty Don't Kneel, or TMDK, which it's so apropos of this film, because Kenshi doesn't kneel, the old man doesn't kneel, and then, obviously at one point Sub-Zero did, but then he finally takes a stand. This is it's less of a fight and more showing off the emotional state of Kenshi when he stands up to Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero mostly just blocks Kenshi's attacks and doesn't fight back. But Kenshi can't be stopped because, as he puts it, he's trying to do the honorable thing, and thus, with that being the case, he knows that he has to go fight. And so Kenshi goes to fight Kano and his crew. Only Kano is super lazy and relies on his gang to protect him. I assume in the end it will be Kano versus Kenshi, or possibly Sub-Zero comes out of retirement to save Kenshi, especially since Kano has this lava monster on his payroll. So in my mind, it'll probably be ice versus lava for the climactic fight. Cabal goes to kill Kenshi when he tries to stand up to Kano, but Kano stops him and says that he wants to make an example out of this blind resistance. When Sub-Zero sees that Kenshi has been captured, he then does the most dramatic unretirement ever when he frees all of his livestock on his farm and he sets the whole place on fire. While he is doing this, he suits up in his classic armor. It almost seems like this has been a call to arms for his old ally / enemy, because while his farm is ablaze and his animals are running away, enter Scorpion, who arrives from Netherrealm. And this is a crazy old man duo coming to save Kenshi. And it's funny because when we see Kenshi being made an example out of, he calls them an uncontrollable storm coming to save the day. And it's funny because I almost think that you need to add fiery, so it's like Mortal Kombat Legend Snowblind Fiery finish, because this conclusion is crazy. And, the baby faces go over, and it is revealed that Kano has been using Kronika's time gimmick to help get him in the most positive place that he wants to be in the timeline. In the end, I do give this a 4 out of 5. It took quite a while. We do get the great fight, but we don't get the lava monster versus Sub-Zero because Kenshi says that, I'll take this fight. Scorpion takes out Cabal. It's very good. Yeah, like I said, 4 out of 5. I look forward to checking out Mortal Kombat Legends cage match and seeing how it fits within the flow of the story so far, because I thought the first two were, well, the first one was perfect. The second one I thought was great, and this is good. So hopefully we can keep up the positive feelings for Mortal Kombat Legends, the animated movie franchise. Come back all week. Enjoy.